The Eagles are getting a major boost right before the playoffs, as the latest news out of Philly indicates that they're set to get some huge reinforcements in the form of several key stars returning for their matchup with the 49ers. Speaking of which, San Fran's latest injury news isn't looking very promising, as it seems like they'll be down multiple key players on both sides of the ball. And for Saquon Barkley and the Eagles offense specifically, that could create a huge advantage. So let's talk about that and all the other latest news before the Eagles and Niners wildcard matchup starting right now. Okay, so as we all know at this point, the Birds wildcard matchup is officially set, as the Eagles will host the 6-seeded 49ers at 4:30 p.m. Eastern on Sunday, and will be a really fun, hard-fought game. I mean, we all know what happened the last time these two teams faced each other in the playoffs. I mean, sure, the Eagles won in a blowout, but it was a super physical game, especially for Philly's defense. I mean, obviously, multiple San Fran's quarterbacks got injured, and that sparked an entire offseason of complaining from the Whiners, and somewhat of a rivalry between these two teams began. And that carried on throughout the next year. Now, since then, that's died down and things are very different now. I mean, the teams are completely different now. But still, this is going to be a really fun and intense game, and I wouldn't be surprised to see that rivalry reignite a little bit. Even if not, though, it's still going to be a fun game. And also, it was kind of funny seeing George Kittle make it clear on Saturday, before the matchup with the Eagles was set in stone, that he would have much rather played the Panthers.
That's horrible. I hate that. I hate losing. I hate losing to the Seahawks. But hey, we get to play football next week, and whoever it is, whenever what happens, go Cardinals. So, no, my confidence is the exact same. I'm looking forward to whoever we play. Let's go Buddha and Trey McBride. Thank you, guys.
What is it like for you as a head coach 30 seconds before a playoff game at the link, knowing that 75,000 fans are there going crazy to cheer you guys on?
Yeah, sure. You know you have the advantage, right? Everything matters, and it is a huge advantage, and I know and I believe that our city more of an advantage than other cities because of the passion and how loud it's going to be and how hostile it's going to be. It's going to be an awesome atmosphere. We'll feed off that atmosphere. Can't wait for that. And we know it's going to be difficult on the opposing side to deal with the noise.
Can I be honest? It doesn't matter who we play, man. I mean, they got to come here in Philly. They got to come to Philly, regardless who it was going to be. They got to come to Philly, and that's hard in January.
Playoff games at the Link are always electric, and as much as I would have rather played, say, the Packers in the first round rather than the Niners, no doubt, the Eagles are going to be a tough matchup for them as well, especially in Philly. And playing at home isn't going to be the Birds' only advantage because for as much concern as there's been about this Eagles offense, they actually have a favorable matchup in this one against a really banged-up Niners defense, and this might just be the perfect get-right game for them to kick off the postseason. I mean, again, San Fran's defense is really banged up, and they have been all season, as they lost both of their star defenders early on in the year, with pass rusher Nick Bosa tearing his ACL in Week 3, while linebacker Fred Warner went down with a serious ankle injury in October, and he hasn't been back since. And on top of those two absences, they've dealt with other injuries and struggles throughout the year, and now, heading into the playoffs, San Francisco's defense is definitely vulnerable, as they rank in the bottom half of the league in yards and pass yards allowed, and most alarmingly, they rank last in sacks and are in the bottom third of the league in takeaways. So for an Eagles offense, offensive line, and passing attack that has struggled for much of the year, that's huge. I mean, it definitely gives them a huge advantage. And then on top of that, the best area of San Francisco's defense on paper has been stopping the run, as they rank 11th in that category, but recently, in 4 of their last 5 games, they've allowed over 100 yards on the ground, so they've definitely been trending downwards, and they're also about to take a major hit there, as the Niners just lost starting linebacker Tatum Bethune in their season finale against Seattle, as he went down with a groin injury and will be out for the rest of the season. Considering the fact that Bethune had 94 tackles this year while playing the 9th most snaps for the Niners defense and 2nd most among their linebackers, safe to say that's a huge loss for them. But that's not all, as both linebackers Dee Winters and Luke Gifford suffered injuries in the game against Seattle as well, and their status for Sunday's playoff game in Philly is also in question, even more so for Winters, and considering that he's put up 101 tackles and has played the most snaps among the Niners linebackers and the 2nd most on their entire defense this season, he'd possibly be an even bigger loss than Bethune, and missing both of them in this game would leave a massive hole at the linebacker position, and it's going to force guys like the veteran Eric Kendricks and other bench warmers to step into huge roles on the Niners defense that they just haven't had all season. I mean, Kendricks, for example, was once a great player, we know that, but he only has 6 tackles this year, and he was a free agent just a few weeks ago. So, these injuries at linebacker, no doubt, make things even tougher on an already banged-up Niners defense. And again, their run defense specifically is going to take a major hit because of it. So, for the Eagles, what better opportunity could you possibly have to get Saquon Barkley, the struggling offensive line, and the run game going? I mean, this is exactly what they need. They just got to take advantage of it, and I personally think they can. They just got to commit to running the football. But the success in the run game and the offense in general also does heavily depend on whether Kevin Patullo can get his crap together.
That play calling was so abysmal in that game yesterday. I was watching it with Ruben Amaro. We were watching the game together. On that play that you referenced, the 3rd and 2 from the 6 and the 4th and 2 from the 6, to throw the ball there when you could have run it, you turn it. I looked at him and I said, they don't want to win this game. My feeling watching that game was they were fine with the 3rd seed. I thought it was disgraceful the way that game was coached from an offensive point, because I've been worried about the way it's been coached all year. And yesterday gave me no feeling that anything had been fixed.
What are you seeing on film from their defense?
They do a good job. They're really, really well coached. Coach Solid does a good job, and he's done a good job for a long time. They fly around with the ball. They're very physical. So it's going to be a good test. I mean, I think when you watch, I know they've had personnel changes throughout the season, but, I mean, they play extremely hard. They're disciplined. You can tell they know what they're doing within the scheme. So I think they've done a good job at this point. They did a good job against Seattle. I know they gave up a lot of yards, but they held them out when they needed to, so it's going to be a good test.
When you have a team like that that's had a bunch of injuries at the same position, how do you balance trying to attack what might be a weakness versus not getting out of yourself?
I think you said it right there. You got to be careful. You don't just chase it, right? You got to really just be in tune with what you want to do and what their scheme is about. Maybe not so much players at times. You can do some things, but you got to be careful. You don't push all into that, because ultimately they're going to do what they need to help their players as well with their scheme. So if they feel like they need to change, they may adapt too. So you just got to be careful with that.
Look, the Eagles definitely cannot take San Fran's defense lightly. I mean, they do play hard and they are coached well. And also, KP's play calling is still very much an issue. And, I feel like I keep saying the same things over and over again, but we've seen moments where this offense looks really good. We've seen them get their run game going. We've seen them have nicely designed plays and good game plans and good play sequencing, but it's been really inconsistent. So we just got to hope that we get the good version of this offense more often than the bad version this postseason. And again, this is a great opportunity here with how banged up the Niners are. And again, their run defense, it's not going to be very good in this game, I would expect. So for Saquon Barkley and that Eagles run game, this is a prime opportunity. Plus, the Eagles offense and offensive line specifically is likely about to get a massive boost with the return of Lane Johnson, as of course the future Hall of Famer and superstar right tackle has been out since late November with a foot injury. But now that the playoffs are here, I think the assumption was that he's going to be back out there this weekend. And although they still obviously have yet to make a decision on that, the good news is that he is seemingly trending towards a return, as on Tuesday, reporter Jeff McClain tweeted out, quote, Eagles right tackle Lane Johnson is expected to practice on Wednesday for the first time since he suffered a Liz Frank foot injury versus the Lions on November 16th, per NFL sources. Johnson has made progress in his recovery, but still has to test his right foot before the team makes a decision on his availability for Sunday's wildcard game versus the 49ers. So, obviously, that's great news. Now, it could be better. I mean, I wish that it was a 100% guarantee that Lane's going to be returning on Sunday, but since he hasn't practiced in over a month, it does make sense that they just want to see how he looks this week. But if I had to bet, I would say that Lane is going to be back on Sunday, and that's huge. I mean, I think Lane's the best tackle in the game, and he does so much for this offense, both in the pass and run game, and his impact just cannot be understated.
Yeah, I mean, Lane's the best right tackle in the game, so if we get him back, it's tremendous. He'll add so much to everything, just even his leadership, his play style, ability, run pass, doesn't matter. It'll be a tremendous lift for the whole entire offense, and I think you'll feel the energy if he's out there.
No doubt getting Lane back will be a much-needed boost for this Eagles offense, as will the return of Nakobe Dean for the Eagles defense. Because after missing the last few games of the season with a hamstring injury, he's expected back for his wildcard matchup against the 49ers as well.
Yeah, it's a big game for everybody. I mean, you play an offense this good and this diverse, all 11 got to be cooking. And I do expect Nakobe to play.
No doubt this is huge news. And this is no disrespect to Jahad Campbell or even Jeremiah Trotter Jr., because both of those guys played really well on Sunday, and Campbell has done great when Dean hasn't played this year. But still, Nakobe has been on another level this season when he's been healthy. Like, the guy's just a baller, man. Like, he flies around to the football. He makes great tackles. He's been solid in coverage. He's been awesome as a blitzer. He's created multiple turnovers. And let's not forget, when he made his return earlier this season, he really helped to stabilize the Eagles' run defense that had struggled to that point. So, again, getting him back is going to give the Eagles' defense a really nice boost. And their run defense specifically might need it in this game because even though the Niners' weakest point offensively has been their run game, they are facing one of the best running backs in the game in Christian McCaffrey, and we know he can take over a game at any time. So the Birds are going to need to be ready for him. They're going to need to be ready for the Niners' other weapons like George Kittle, and of course their quarterback Brock Purdy is also really good, and he has the ability to make plays with both his arm and his legs. And then also the coaching, scheming, and play calling of Kyle Shanahan is a challenge as well. So Vic Fangio's unit definitely has their hands full.
You know, they have a really good scheme. It's all packaged together very nicely. They give you a lot of good motions. Everything they do is with a purpose, and they do a really good job of it. Obviously, Purdy operates it very well. McCaffrey's an elite back. Got a good group of receivers. You know, Kittle at tight end. I mean, they had a run where they were hottest offense in the league for like 6-7 weeks in a row here of late.
Yeah, the Eagles defense definitely has a lot to think about in this matchup with the Niners, and that becomes even more true if they see the return of both star left tackle Trent Williams and wide receiver Ricky Pearsall this week, as both of them missed the Week 18 game against the Seahawks, but on Saturday, Shanahan said that they would have had a better chance to play in that game had it been on Sunday rather than Saturday, so the assumption then would be that both of those guys were close to playing last week, and they will probably return this week. That is, until Shanahan's latest update, where in regards to both Williams and Pearsall, he said, quote, "We'll evaluate them throughout this week." And then, when later asked to clarify the difference between, say, day-to-day and what he said, which is they'll be evaluated throughout the week, he said that the latter meant that there's more room for bad news. So that would then signal that maybe Pearsall and Williams actually won't be able to return on Sunday. Plus, Pearsall specifically apparently re-aggravated his PCL injury that has bothered him throughout the year. So if these guys can't go, that would no doubt be a huge blow to the Niners offense, and we saw how they struggled without those guys in the lineup against Seattle. But honestly, those two updates are pretty conflicting, so I don't quite fully know what to expect, although it doesn't sound great for them. But, we'll get a better idea of what's going on there as these teams get out on the practice field starting Wednesday and just throughout the week. One thing that we do know, though, is that Kevin Burkhardt and Tom Brady will call the game on Sunday, which is good news for the Birds if you're superstitious, because the Eagles are 4-1 this season when this duo is on the broadcast, and last year they were 3-0 in the playoffs with Brady on the call, including in the Super Bowl, so let's hope that trend continues this year. All that said, though, there's obviously going to be a ton more news coming out throughout this week. Obviously, we still got a lot to find out in regards to some of the injuries the 49ers are dealing with, as well as what's going on with Lane Johnson, and just, there's a lot more developments to come out before this matchup. So you guys know I'm going to be covering it all, and if you don't want to miss it, or any Eagles coverage coming throughout the rest of the postseason or the offseason, then make sure you subscribe and you turn on notifications, and also drop a like down below to show some support, because it really does help me out a ton, guys. So let's see if we can get to at least 500 likes today, and also hit the hype button, because that really helps me out a ton as well, and leave a comment just regarding anything that I talked about in this video, or just leave a comment saying whatever, say what's up, and that also helps me out a ton as well. And if you do want to watch another Eagles video going over their regular season finale and briefly touching on the matchup with the 49ers, you can check this out right here. And now with all that being said, that's pretty much all I got for this one, guys, so thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.